Hello, and welcome to Facebook Live from Indivisible World Headquarters. This is the Recess Edition. Happy August, everybody. I'm Chad Bull. I'm a policy manager on the policy team.
Hi, I'm Sarah Marino, and I'm an organizing manager.
And I'm Marguerite Suazo-Gole, and I'm an organizer on the team.
Really excited to be here with you guys tonight, talking about everything coming up during recess and what you can do to hold your members accountable. All right, so first, couple things. Share this video. Your friends may not know this is the Recess edition of our Facebook Live, so we wouldn't want them to miss it. Share this video so they can catch it too. Put your questions in the comments. Anything that you've got questions about, either policy or recess related, we're here to answer them. So put your questions in the comments. And then when we're done, go to indivisibleguide.com and be sure to sign up for our newsletter. All right, so before we get started and we dive into everything recess related, as always, I want to get started with our newest group. Marguerite,
yes.
You want to take it away?
Absolutely. So our newest group is Indivisible Ocean Shores in Ocean Shores, Washington. So welcome to the team. We're excited to have you.
All right.
And we're going to put you right up here. All right.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, well, it's a perfect time for them to join the team because it is August recess. So this is going to be our longest and, dare we say it, best recess yet. The House and the Senate are both officially on recess now, so they'll be in their districts through August and actually through Labor Day weekend as well. So this is a huge moment for groups across the country to have their voices heard. And we really want to make sure that during this recess, Indivisible groups are everywhere. So whether it's at a farmer's market, whether it's at a town hall, you guys are pros at town halls at this point, but whether it's at a public event, we want to be everywhere and we want to be keeping up that constituent pressure on your members of Congress. This is also a great time to hold your member of Congress accountable or maybe even say thank you for their vote on Trump Care. So we want them to know we were watching what they did and that we will not forget. We will not forget now, and we will not forget when they're up for re-election. So that's a great thing that you guys should focus on this August recess. That being said, there are a lot of other policy priorities that are coming down to you. So I'm going to let Chad talk a little bit about that. So Chad, aka @Chatter, you can follow him on Twitter, is going to talk about our policy priorities too.
Great. Well, first off, exactly like Sarah said, big thing to cover over August is holding your members accountable for their vote on Trump Care. If they voted for it, that's terrible. Definitely let them know how you feel about that. If they voted against it, say thank you. Members of Congress need positive affirmation when they do something good. So definitely let them know that you're grateful for their opposition to Trump Care. But then, of course, that's, looking back. But there's also a ton to look forward to as well. When Congress gets back from recess, they've got a really, really busy schedule. There's a ton of deadlines they have to meet. They need to raise the debt ceiling. They have to reauthorize the children's health insurance program. They have to reauthorize the flood insurance program. And, of course, they have that pesky task of figuring out how to fund the government. All of that by September 30th. So they have a lot they have to do, but what they want to do is get to tax reform. So you've heard me talk about this on previous Facebook Lives, I think, but let's talk for a minute just about calling it tax reform. Calling it that suggests that, Republicans intend to close loopholes, maybe address some of the massive wealth inequality that the tax code exacerbates. That's not what they're going to do. Their plan for taxes is to cut taxes for the 1% and corporations and pay for it by taking away Medicaid, Medicare, education funding, and other funding that we value. So that's what they're up to. Don't let them fool you. This is not about giving tax cuts to hardworking families, as Paul Ryan said today. This is about big tax cuts for the 1%. Also, they're facing a major deadline on immigration right when they get back from recess on DACA. So we've got some key toolkits on our website. It's recess.indivisibleguide.com. And there you'll find toolkits on the big tax fight coming up, on immigration. You'll find a toolkit on healthcare accountability. And we also have toolkits on climate change, on the Russia investigation, and we've got one more, of course, on the budget. And the budget ties into tax reform and sort of sets them up for those special instructions that they need to use reconciliation to pass their tax reform plan through the Senate with only 51 votes. So you'll find everything you need for Recess in terms of policy and tactics, again, at recess.indivisibleguide.com.
Great. So we have a few shout outs to give to groups. We're about 1 week into August recess, and we've already seen a ton of great events happening. So I just want to shout out a few of our groups on the ground that have been doing those. The first is Victory on Immigration, actually. So just because the immigration fight is coming up after August recess doesn't mean you have to wait on that. We have a mom of 4 who was living in New Haven, and she was close to being deported, but thanks to groups like Connecticut Shoreline Indivisible, who stood up for her and wrote letters to her daughter who was staying with her in a church while she was seeking sanctuary, there was a lot of pressure put on government to grant an emergency stay, and so she has been able to stay in New Haven. So congratulations to Connecticut Shoreline Indivisible for showing that even in a blue state you can make a big difference on these issues.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's really huge. And you can find out more about it at our landing site, standup.indivisibleguide.com on immigration. Another event that's been happening is Meryl from Indivisible Columbus District 3. You might have seen the video. She confronted Representative Rod Portman at the Ohio State Fair on his poor environmental voting record. And she was asking him to stop taking money from the fossil fuel interest as a mother and as a constituent. And he chuckled and drove away in a golf cart. So you can confront your members of Congress at public events and really kind of put them to shame for their poor voting records. And then finally, we have Indivisible Midlands in South Carolina, who set up a booth at their summer tomato festival, Tasty Tomato Festival, and they were registering new voters and recruiting new members so that they could engage more people and bring more voices into the movement. So they actually succeeded in bringing in 150 new members. So shout out to Indivisible Midlands for canvassing and showing what it takes to bring in new people.
That's awesome.
Great. So many great things happening. And so Marguerite just alluded to a lot of the tactics that we'll be using over August recess, but I'm just going to quickly go through a couple of those top tactics that we'll be using. And you can read more of this, again, at recess.indivisibleguide.com and check out our full toolkit there. Just to go over some top lines of this. So since it's recess, of course, we will be attending town halls. We need Indivisible groups to show up in full force. If your member of Congress is having a town hall, or if you're holding an empty chair town hall or an adopted district town hall, that's great. You can also see more, again, on recess.indivisibleguide.com. We partnered with NextGen to make really quick and fun 2 to 3 minute videos that teach you how to ask a good town hall question, how to have an adopted district town hall. So some great things there to see more information about that. Next, we'll be confronting our members of Congress at public events. So like in Ohio, when they confronted Portman, August recess is a really big time for members of Congress to have these public events where they're going to Little League games, they're going to ribbon cuttings, they're going to parades or festivals. So if your member of Congress is going to one of those events, make sure that you're there to ask them some hard-hitting questions and also to steal the spotlight and probably steal the headline too. So that's huge. And then we have a new exciting tactic that some of you have been using already, but I think we're going to get a drum roll. Yeah, drum roll for this. We're going to be canvassing. This is really exciting. We'll be doing...
It's not just canvassing, it's Indivisicanvassing.
Oh yes, it's #IndivisiCanvass.
Great,
right? Yeah. So we're really excited about canvassing. We'll be doing high traffic canvassing, which is when you're going out at events and doing this. And then we'll be doing door-to-door canvassing in neighborhoods. And so the purpose of this, again, is to show your members of Congress that you're all over at farmers markets, that you're at festivals over the summer, at barbecues, whatever it is. You should get out there and canvass and we want to show, our MOCs that Indivisible is there and we're stronger than ever. This is also a great opportunity to ask people to take action on the spot. So I'm going to show you, we have these flyers right here. I don't know how well you can see this, but we're pretty excited. They're actually personalized by state. So it'll say on here, once you select it and print it up, how your member of Congress voted. On the back, there's a script. And then you'll see, I printed up New York because I'm from New York originally, so I just clicked on that one. But you have the 2 senators at the top and you have their phone numbers. So as you're out at these events, you'll hand out the flyers and actually ask the people that you're talking to call your member of Congress right on the spot and take action. On top of that, this is just a great opportunity, as Marguerite mentioned, for recruitment, to bring new people in, to meet people who are excited and want to get involved. And we wanted to make this as easy as possible for all of you because canvassing is a ton of fun and really just the best way to connect with other constituents, other voters, to talk to them face to face. But we wanted to make this as easy as possible. In our August Recess Toolkit, we have information on how to plan a canvass, on how to find a good spot, on how to train canvassers, and then we also have a canvassing packet that basically you just print that up and you put it on a clipboard and you're ready to go. So that has the scripts for canvassing in it, and it also has a tally sheet, so you can mark down how many people you talked to, and it has a sign-up sheet where you can put all the new people that you signed up to join your Indivisible group and get all of that recorded. So it'll be a lot of fun, and canvassing is our third new exciting tactic. We do have 2 other things that we want to shout out. One is that on August 15th, United We Dream is having a big day of action. It's the 5th anniversary of DACA, so we'll have more information coming soon on that. And I think we're actually having a Facebook Live next week to talk about immigration. The other thing that we definitely encourage you all to do that's not officially in the toolkit but is super important is to make sure that you're getting together with your group to have fun. Having some events, maybe a barbecue or maybe a happy hour, just some opportunity to get together and celebrate the great work you've been doing and then get back out there and do it all again. So those are some of the tactics. There are a lot of things that I just said right there. So Marguerite has some really good tips on how to plan and how to work with your group to having a good August recess.
Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. Thanks for going over that newest tactic. We're really excited about that.
Indivisa Canvas.
Indivisa Canvas. We're really excited to see what you all come up with.
Get that hashtag going.
At Shatter. So here I'm just going to run through a few quick tips for how to plan around August recess with your groups. There are 5 whole weeks through Labor Day of August recess. You have plenty of time to do so. You should get started now. So the first step is really to look over and familiarize yourself with all the resources that we have up on our website, such as recess.indivisibleguide.com. That's where you want to start, and just read through our whole toolkit. Get familiar with the resources we have up there so you know what's there and what you're going to be working with. And then the next step is to set up a meeting or a conference call with your fellow group members to talk through which tactics you think you're going to use, who's going to be the point person on each of those, and also when you're going to have those events. You also might want to decide which issues you're going to focus on. So if you were really passionate about immigration, for example, you could do a bunch of tactics, either canvassing or public events or town halls that focus on immigration. You can, of course, always do a mix of all those. And as Chad mentioned before, we have 6 toolkits devoted to each of these issues. So you really have a chance to delve in there, whether you're in a blue state, red state, or purple state on each of those issues. So, some groups have already done this. They've already had conference calls where they've been planning out their actions. And then once you have decided which actions you're going to do, you should register them to our site. So go to recess.indivisibleguide.com, click on Show Up, and you can scroll down to the bottom to create your own event. You can also see all the events we already have up there and gain some inspiration of your own from other groups across the country. And then another idea to do is if you're having a canvass, you can consider doing these every week, every weekend in an area of town that's really populated, or maybe in front of a shopping center. Down in Southern California, we had some groups actually set a goal to have one every weekend by the end of August recess. So see if you can beat that. And then whether or not your MOC voted yes on Trump Care, you can go door to door in the district office, around the district office, to talk to fellow constituents about how they voted and to ask them to call their member of Congress to either thank them or to hold them accountable and say, you know, we're watching you. Just because this fight is over for now doesn't mean we're going to forget your vote easily, because that is really like the strongest next step that you can take on this. And then finally, and again, this is all on our website, but if you want to confront your MOC at a public event or town hall, we have a ton of ideas and resources for where to go to find out where those are happening. And one of those is Town Hall Project, which has already, I believe, over 200 town halls and public events registered. So that's townhallproject.org, I believe. So lots of quick and easy tips there for getting started. And the important thing is just that you get the ball rolling by reaching out to your members and letting them know what you heard on this Facebook Live tonight and sharing the video.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm really awesome. I'm really excited about all of these awesome.
You're also awesome.
You're also really awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I'm really excited about these awesome resources that you guys have put together, because I think members of Congress think, you know, the healthcare vote is behind us. They probably think, you know, we're going to go away. We're not going away. We're back, and well, we never went away to begin with, but we're bigger than ever, and we're ready to hold them accountable. So these resources are really great, and August is the perfect opportunity to use them.
And I actually want to say one more thing
before
we move on. So if you don't take pictures or videos or send us stories, it's like the event didn't happen. So make sure you're taking pictures. Make sure you're taking horizontal video like you'll see in one of the videos that we put out with Next Gen. Make sure you're sending us your anecdotes. You can tweet at us on Facebook or post on Facebook with a tag at Indivisible Team. And you also want to be sending these to stories@indivisibleguy.com. And that's how we can take all this great content and amplify it. So not only are your members of Congress held accountable, but your fellow Indivisibles across the country can see what you're up to.
Great. All right. So with that, let's turn it over to the questions.
Great. So the first question comes from Mara, and she asks, love these personalized flyers. Thanks, Mara. Are they for House members too?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, I'm really excited about these flyers. Shout out to Caroline, who's behind the scenes right now, who made these up. But right now, these are not for your House members. However, if you're really interested in doing one for your House member, it's also very important to hold them accountable. You can email field@indivisibleguide.com, and we can see if we can help you out with that. That's a quick one. Easy.
Yeah.
All right.
So the next one is from James in Arkansas, and he asks, what do we do if our MOC won't hold town halls? That is a great question, James, and I'm sure Sarah or Chad has some great answers for me.
Yeah, I can start off there. A lot of suggestions I have. But before I jump into that, don't forget you can ask your questions in the comment section under the Facebook Live. So let us know what questions you have about organizing for August recess or policy questions. We're happy to answer them. But let's see, let's go to James in Arkansas. And Arkansas is actually a great example because they've been doing a really great job out there of pressuring their members of Congress to have town halls. So Tom Cotton had a town hall back in February, and that was all because Ozark Indivisible and some other indivisible groups out there put a lot of pressure on him to ask him to have a town hall, showing up at district offices asking for town halls. Other groups have been putting up missing person signs, asking where is their member of Congress. They haven't seen them. So that's a really great place to get started. That being said, if your member of Congress just won't have a town hall, you can have one for them. So we have two different types of tactics that we've suggested here. So one of them is adopt a district events, where you can reach out to a nearby congressperson and ask them if they will come and do a town hall because your member of Congress won't. Another one is to host your own empty chair town hall, also called a constituent town hall, where you do all the planning. You invite your your member of Congress to come. Usually they don't show up. Sometimes they have. But you invite them to come, and then you have a backup plan for if they don't show up. So I know in Florida they had an actual empty suit that was it maybe animated, or it was very elaborate. They had an empty suit. In Michigan there was a town hall with a chicken, an actual live chicken. There have also been a lot of folks dressed up as chickens. There have been some really creative ways to do this, different cardboard cutouts of your member of Congress. So just because your own member of Congress is not having a town hall doesn't mean you can't have one in the district. The final thing I would throw in here is, as I mentioned, August recess is really well known for public events. So see if your member of Congress is having an event somewhere that they're going to. If there is a public event, great. If not, sometimes members of Congress will be at fundraisers, even if they won't have a town hall. So find out if they're having a fundraiser. You can go outside and really show up in force for those. And sometimes you can even catch them as they're coming outside to ask a question. Or I know we spotted who was it? A member of Congress in California.
Yeah,
it was Tom Cotton. Oh wow, we're just a lot about Tom Cotton tonight. So yeah, Tom Cotton, some Indivisible group members found him at a restaurant in California. So you never know where these folks are going to show up. So there are a lot of things to do if your member of Congress is not having a town hall. Any other things I missed there? I could probably keep going on about this for days, but there's a lot to do. So you guys will be plenty busy out there. Thanks for that great question. All right, and don't forget you can put your questions in the comments.
Yep, great. I especially love that incident of Tom Cotton, because it shows that indivisibles across the country are looking out for each other, helping each other out. This was one instance that took place across Twitter. So a lot of those cross-state connections happening, which is what we'd love to see. So the next, it's actually not a question, it's a comment, comes from Heather in North Carolina. And she says, our congressman has scheduled 9 town halls in 4 days. We intend to have an indivisible presence at every one. Go Heather.
All right.
That's incredible. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. And definitely, Heather, make sure to visit our toolkits at recess.indivisibleguide.com because they've got town hall questions on all the different subjects that you'll want to raise with your member of Congress. So definitely check out those questions before you go.
Yeah, great. And if that's the Heather that I know in North Carolina, keep up the good work. You guys are doing great, and I can't wait to see what you guys do at those town halls.
So then we have another question from Mara in New Jersey, and she asks, our group NJ 11th for Change, one of my favorite groups, I'm the organizer for New Jersey among others, so happy to see you guys are on this Facebook Live, has done a lot of our own research on our Congressman, Frelinghuysen. Can we use your templates? And I think Sarah spoke to this a little bit before, but if you want to add a bit more on this.
Yeah, you're welcome to use any of our templates for the flyers, or we also have some guidelines on how to do research on where your congressperson will be. So you can also email field@indivisibleguide.com if you have more questions or want a different file type on one of our templates. Or if you know Marguerite already, you can also just reach out directly to her, since she is our organizer for New Jersey.
Yeah, I'll just say, if you've done extra research on your own member and you know about things they've said in the past or positions they've taken in the past, definitely raise that with them. But the other thing you can do to personalize it is, again, tell your own personal stories. That's what really resonates with members of Congress. They want to connect to their constituents. So as you're thinking about ways to personalize things in terms of your member of Congress, definitely personalize it for yourselves too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point, Chad. So the next question comes from Matt, and he says, is it time for single payer? Chad, you can probably take this one. Over to Chad.
So we support single payer, and we've got massive constituent power. We know that. We've seen that. But what we don't have at the moment is agenda setting power. So we think the best thing to do is to continue to defend against attacks against the ACA, defend against Trump Care. That's the best use of our resources, and it's our best strategic move at this moment. But of course, like down the line, there will be an opportunity. Of course, like once we take back one or more chambers of Congress, once we really flex our constituent power, we'll have more opportunities to pursue those bold progressive policies down the road.
Yeah, great. And I should add, as an organizer for Massachusetts, among other blue states, there's some really good work being done at the state level to influence that legislation. So it's possible to do that. But as Chad said, we really are at the point where we're trying to just build our power and be defensive at the national level right now. So we have a reminder from Paula, who seems like she is a town hall expert, and she is just reminding all of us to not yell and not be rude at the town halls, and rather to ask or make constructive questions and remarks, and allow the congressman to respond without interruption. As you all know, when you first register for an Indivisible group, the third pillar of being part of Indivisible is that you are progressive and showing respectful values for not just your congressman, but others around you. So this is a great point, Paula. Please do be respectful, and actually you're probably going to have more of an impact if you ask a very direct on-message question and give the congressman an opportunity or congresswoman an opportunity to respond.
Yeah, and I'll add in, we've said in some of our toolkits, be polite but persistent. So make sure that you are being polite, but at the same time, if you're not getting an answer to your question, feel free to ask it again. If a staffer comes and tries to take the mic from you, you can say, I'm not done with my question, I have a follow-up, or the member of Congress hasn't answered my question. So feel free to be persistent. You definitely should be. If you don't get your question answered, have someone else from your group come up and ask that question again. There are also a lot of great ways to make sure that your voices are heard with different signs. We've had groups that hold up, thumbs up or thumbs down. We've had groups that have done big red boxes if they are if they disagree, or blue if they do agree. So it makes a really great visual impact. And so it's been good to see.
And we've had some groups that aren't allowed to bring signs in, so they've actually cut out flags, little pieces of fabric. So feel free to get creative in any way you can. And again, make sure you're filming all of these and that you're taking pictures. If you're not allowed to take pictures or film it, make sure you publicize that by getting a picture of your group outside the event. And just really make sure that in everything you're doing, you're amplifying it out in social media and sending it along to stories@indivisibleguide.com. Yeah.
All right, so we probably have time for one more.
Okay, time for one more question. So we have a question from Ben in New York, your home state.
My home state.
I see in your toolkit you talk about the tax fight. What does that mean? I haven't heard about this on the news yet. Chad, I think this one's for you.
Yeah, great. All right, great question, Ben. So you've probably heard this talked about as tax reform. Again, we're really trying not to refer to it that way because, again, this is not about tax reform. It's not about closing loopholes. It's about giving massive tax cuts to the wealthy and corporations paid for by cutting Medicare, Medicaid, education funding. So, all right, what's coming down the pike? Like I said, with healthcare, at least sort of behind us for the time being, Republicans with agenda-setting power are eager to pivot on to the next thing. What they really want to do is tax reform. And again, it's going to be about making changes to the alternative minimum tax, repealing the estate tax, lowering rates on capital gains. All of these, kind of wonky, technical, complicated tax features, the bottom line is that they all cut taxes for the very wealthy. And when you look at the plans, whether it's the plan that Trump put out as a candidate or the tax plan that Paul Ryan has released, when you look at who benefits from these plans, it's very, very little going to the lower incomes on the distribution and massive, massive cuts going to folks at the top. For some reason, they think this is a winning strategy, and it's core to the Republican Party. Lower taxes is especially for folks at the top, is core to who they are. It's core to their policy agenda. So this is something that they've got a lot of support for, and it's actually something that we need to work hard both to keep Democrats united against, and also hopefully peel off a couple of Republicans, much like we did on healthcare. And we can do that, I think, with a winning message, which is, look, corporations need to pay their fair share, the wealthy need to pay their fair share, and it's not fair to cut taxes for corporations at a time when profits are at record highs, and the wealthy are already doing very well, seeing massive gains in their income, and the middle class is not. So I think we've got a winning message here. And again, just to reiterate, this is not about tax reform, closing loopholes. It's just about cuts for folks at the top.
Yeah, those are all great points. And I think, again, you can see all of this on the toolkit that we have online and that you've put together and the team has worked really hard on. So we're excited to see you all use that.
Cool. Thank you for that reminder, Marguerite. recess.indivisibleguide.com. All right, I think that's all we have time for tonight. Thanks everybody so much for joining us. Check out Rachel Maddow starting right now.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.